got my tea. I'm ready to answer all of your Mexico City questions. Yesterday on my Instagram, that's so hot. Yesterday on my Instagram, I posed the question in my stories and on my feed. If you're not following me already, it's at Eternal Expat. I share photos and stories and restaurants and other recommendations for Mexico City in particular, and anywhere else I'm traveling in Mexico. In the moment, it's the most up-to-date place that I am, so if you want to mildly stalk what I'm doing day to day, Instagram's the place. So I have lots of questions, a lot of repeats, so I'm just gonna kind of bundle them together. But yeah, exciting stuff. Lots and lots of questions about Mexico City. So let's start. One of the questions I got a lot was best time to visit Mexico City. This is totally like subjective, I think. Objective? Totally subjective. I love November and December in Mexico City. It's one of my favorite times of the year. The wet season just sort of comes to an end in October. So in November you have super crisp blue sky days. It's warm during the day, somewhere roughly around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, low 20s Celsius, maybe high teens Celsius. And then at night it gets cool. So you're looking at it dropping into the 60s, sometimes into the high 50s, in Celsius as low as maybe 16 degrees. But it's so dry, there's no humidity in the air, so it's quite a nice, cool feeling. And when the sun is so hot during the day, for me, it's such a welcome feeling to have like this cool breeze and yeah, it's the air is really clean at that time of year because the rain has all just finally stopped. Yeah, it's just such a beautiful time of year. The start of the month you have Dia de Muertos, so it's a lot of celebration. And then there's a lot of holidays in November. You have Revolution Day. The NFL always comes to Mexico City in November. And yeah, there's just lots of fun things going on in the city then. So it's one of my favorite months to visit Mexico City. December is also lovely, leading up to Christmas. It's so beautiful. The poinsettias that line the streets, and yeah, it's just lots of festivities, lots of parties, lots of good food, and similar weather to November. January and February, it's still nice, but it's cooler, much cooler. February, I think, is one of the colder months. January is pretty cold. The days are shorter, obviously, but not as short as maybe they are in like New York or other parts of Europe. So if you're coming from a place in the winter and it's super, super cold, Mexico City will feel like a nice fall day. Next question. Have you ever taken the metro in CDMX, and how easy/safe is it to use? I take the metro all the time. It's super easy to use. I have an app that is called, I deleted the app. Mapway. The app is called Mapway. You can download it for different cities. So if you download it for Mexico City, it's super easy. It just allows you to have the map of the metro, so you know like which way to go when you're changing lines. Yeah, the metro is super simple. It's only 5 pesos. It's very reasonably priced. Those that are concerned about safety, there are women-only cars. I believe they're at the back of the train, and that's just for women and children. I have a full blog post all about using the metro, how to use it, how to stay safe on the metro, how to keep yourself safe on the metro, and like how to buy tickets and all that sort of stuff. I'll link that blog post below. It's in much more detail than I could give right now. Next question. To go along the lines with that, do you recommend using public transportation as opposed to renting a car in Mexico City? I 100% do not recommend renting a car if you're only going to be in Mexico City. Driving in the city don't do it. Driving in the city is a pain. Parking is a pain. It's either expensive or nearly impossible to find. The traffic is just chaos. If you're not used to other drivers in big cities like in New York City or London or like that sort of chaos, then you may not cope very well with the traffic here. I really recommend Uber, the metro buses. The city is super well connected by public transportation, and if you're really trying to go like to Teotihuacan or Xochimilco or something and you'd rather not take public transportation, Uber is very affordable as a tourist and is a much better option because you're leaving the driving to someone who is used to this sort of chaos. Did you get sick from the food when you first moved? How do you prevent it moving there soon? No. The only time I've ever been sick in Mexico City was when I had sushi. I won't name the sushi restaurant, but it's a chain. And it had cream cheese in it. Yeah, I've been sick once in Merida. I think that was probably more of a stomach bug than it's food poisoning because my boyfriend didn't get sick. Really like, I mean, I have a pretty strong stomach. I've traveled a lot before living in Mexico. I lived in South Korea. I did a lot of traveling around that region of the world before moving here, so I don't know. I have a pretty strong stomach. I haven't been sick. I eat a lot of street food. I eat a lot of food at markets. I cook a lot at home with fresh produce. I wash everything in the sink. I'm not a great person to ask that question to because I have a very strong stomach. I know friends that came here for a week or two and they got sick. People that when they first moved here got sick. The reality is that there's different bacteria here, and it's not a matter of it being unclean or unsanitary. When you move somewhere new, your stomach is going to have to adjust to new things, and you may have stomach problems when you first move here, but you'll get over it. It too shall pass, and you'll be able to enjoy all the delights of the food here in Mexico. So, favorite neighborhood on a Sunday? Mexico City's nice on Sunday because a lot of the roads are shut for cyclists and that sort of stuff. One of my favorite places to go on a Sunday is actually Polanco. There's a street called Horacio, and there's a really nice pedestrian walkway down that street. It's tree lined. It's there's not that much traffic on a Sunday, so even when you cross over the roads, like it's really relaxing. There are a couple of parks along there that are really beautiful. Plaza Uruguay, I love. Yeah, that's probably my favorite place on a Sunday. It's also near lots of good food, and a short walk to Parque Lincoln, which is also a nice place to spend a Sunday. I also like walking down Chapultepec or going to Chapultepec and just sitting on a bench or walking around the different paths. It's a lot more peaceful on a Sunday than it is on a Saturday, especially if you walk like behind the castle. It's much quieter back there. Or if you go to the other section, which is kind of near the Children's Museum and La Feria, that's a really beautiful side of the park on a Sunday too. Do you feel safe going places by yourself? Yes, definitely, especially during the day. Mexico City, it's a question I've answered many a time. I'll link below to a couple of different videos and blog posts I have about safety in Mexico City, safety in Mexico. I feel safe here. I take Ubers by myself into and out of the city during the week when I have meetings or I'm co-working with other digital nomads. I travel at night by myself. I've taken Ubers to and from the airport by myself, and I live on the totally other side of the city from the airport. I've taken Ubers at like 4 o'clock in the morning by myself. I'm smart about like what I do, especially after dark when I'm by myself. How many times can I say by myself? Because it's a big city, and that's what I would do in any big city. So yes, I feel safe. What's your favorite thing to do on the weekends? I really love to try new restaurants. I have a huge list on my phone whenever I find one that's been on like Donde Ir or that's been on someone's Instagram. I love checking out like new places for lunch, new like cute cafes for coffee, or this past weekend I went to La Galleteria, which is this delicious like cookie boutique. You go in and like pick which cookie you want, and they bring it from the back, and it's delicious. There are constantly new places opening up in Mexico City, and loads of places that are really fantastic that aren't so new that I still have yet to try. So that's one of my favorite things to do on the weekend. I love food. How do you get around? I live just outside of Mexico City to the west in Mexico State, and I'm not near a metro station. I'm not really that near a metro station. So I used to take an Uber to the metro station and then take the metro into the city. I still do that sometimes, especially during the week when it's crazy traffic. But usually on the weekends, if I'm just gonna pop to like a specific neighborhood and have lunch and like wander around there, I will take an Uber. It's definitely my preferred method of getting around. Yeah, I have a whole post about using Uber in Mexico City. I'll link that one below too. Yeah. Okay, 2 people asked a similar-ish question. What are the top 3 things you have to see or do? Oh gosh. If this is your first time in the city and you love history, you have to go to Templo Mayor, the Anthropology Museum, and the other side of Xochimilco, where you go to like the chinampas and the farms and stuff. Those are like, it's absolutely amazing there. And it's really cool to learn about what Mexico City looked like when the Aztecs were here. I think it's really fascinating. Those are my 3 favorite places. Ooh, and Bellas Artes. Love Bellas Artes. And the inside of the post office. Oh, so many places. This is a very, very difficult question. Where can I find the absolute best taco in the whole city? I don't know. You tell me in the comments below your favorite taco place in Mexico City, because there are so many. It's so hard. I mean, are the best tacos in the whole city in Roma Norte? Probably not. Are the best tacos in the city in the Centro Histórico? Probably not. They're certainly not in Condesa or you know, Polanco. So I can't answer that question. The tacos at the end of my street, delicious. Not gonna tell you where I live. The tacos in El Huequito, love those tacos. Don Julio? No, that's not the name of the taco place. Don Güero, really, really great tacos. I find myself going there a lot more recently. The suadero there is... My favorite pastor tacos, they change. My favorite pastor tacos could be from Tacos Alvaro Obregón, which is on Alvaro Obregón in Roma Norte. It's quite touristy, it's quite busy, but their pastor is amazing. As is El Farolito. They have a few locations. I think the one in Condesa is the one that I've been to most. That one's super, super, super delicious. The pastor tacos at Tizoncito. Be sure to go to one of the original branches in Condesa. Those are so good. They claim to be the like first place for tacos. There is a place in the Centro called Baltazar, and they do the best tacos arabe I've ever had. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. If you've been before and you have a favorite taco place, let me know in the comments, because there are so many tacos to try. Let me see if there's any more questions. How are you able to make friends? I mean, that's not a Mexico City thing. I think that's like whenever you move to a new place, it's hard, right? I mean, I've been here 3 years, and I feel like I'm really finally, after all this time, starting to put together like a social network that I enjoy, the people that I really like spending time with, both as a group and like as separate women. And really for me, it was about joining groups. I found people on Facebook who were like fellow digital nomads. I found people who are fellow bloggers who perhaps don't call Mexico City home, but they come here a lot. Yeah, it's hard to find like-minded people in a city so big. They're here for sure, but like, you know, it's hard. It's really hard to make friends. So yeah, I highly recommend just putting yourself out there, getting onto Facebook groups. and asking if people want to meet up for coffees, or finding hobby groups that you like connect with on Meetup. Meetup.com is a really good place. Yeah, and just get out of your comfort zone and meet strangers. Okay, one more question. Which neighborhood should I stay in? Okay, lots of people love Roma and Condesa as tourists because they are safe. There are a lot of other tourists around. There are a lot of other foreigners living there. It's a little bit more upmarket, and there's a lot of restaurants and cafes. Like, they're cool places. They're nice places, right? And it's a nice experience. I think it's not necessarily what people expect from Mexico City. If you're here for like a longer period of time, I think those are fun places to spend time. And I think it's nice to be around all those restaurants. If you're only here for a short period of time and this is your first visit, I seriously recommend staying in the Centro Histórico. It is so beautiful. It's where lots of the museums and attractions are in the city. There are so many fantastic restaurants. It's more affordable. And there's still a lot of smaller local businesses there that you can support, both hotel-wise, like Chaya B&B. It's a great hotel. There's beautiful older hotels like the Gran Hotel Ciudad de Mexico. Even if you don't stay there, I highly recommend going in and having a look at the ceiling and maybe going up to the terrace. It's a beautiful view of the Zocalo. Yeah, so those are the places that I recommend. If you've been before and you want like something a little bit glitzier, Polanco is a beautiful place. A lot of people think it's I really hate this, but like inauthentic, but it is Mexico. It is Mexico City. It is a very historical part of Mexico City. I have a video about Polanco with some really great comments about the history there, and it's just a nice place. So I hope I have answered some of your questions about this beautiful city that I call home. If you have other questions, definitely let me know in the comments. I got a few questions that were way bigger than this video, so I'm actually going to be doing a few more videos over the next few weeks that answer some of those questions. So if you did ask me a question on Instagram and I didn't answer it here, it's coming. All right, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.